Welcome to the formulize tutorial video about text boxes. Now, text boxes are pretty straightforward, and we've used a few already in various parts of different forms. If you're logged in as an administrator, and if we go to the wildlife monitoring application on the administration side, and then configure the wildlife activity form, let's add some text boxes here about the number of animals that we're seeing, just as an example. So let's add a single text box. Just click the first option there, and as always we can start with the name. So I'll actually put in 4 different boxes, but we'll start with one. So let's say number of adult males, and then look at our options. Now options are size, which is going to be how big the box actually is, and the maximum length, how many characters people can type in. So you sometimes have text boxes which are short, but you can type a lot in it, and you'll have seen your text scroll within the box, and you can't see it all at once, but all your text is there. So the defaults are 30 and 255, and that's usually pretty good. You can set various things as the default value. You could just type a default value in here, and that would be the default value, or you can use any of these options here. For full details on those, you should check the multi-line text box video. The first part of that video goes over some of these defaults and how they work. There is also an associate values with another element. It's a rather not often used feature, but it is possible, and it works with text boxes. That is also explained towards the end of the multi-line text box video. So I recommend you look there for more information about those things. Important things that regular text boxes have that you should know about: the numbers only option. Certainly in this case we're asking the user to enter a number. We should therefore treat this as numbers only, and you can control the formatting of the number of decimal places. If there's a prefix, often for financial amounts you want a dollar prepended, and so on. So you can change these, and you can also, there's in the preferences for formulize, which we'll look at in a separate video, there are several different preferences to affect various things, and well, you can control the global defaults for these number formatting options in the preferences. So yes, and there's also an option for users must enter a unique value into this box. So if you don't want the value to be, if you want no duplicates, then you can enforce that through that setting. That's useful, obviously, in cases where, well, obviously people would only have where people would only be allowed to enter a particular value one time, especially if you've got multiple users filling in a form, and potentially someone's filling in the same things as another person, but you don't want that to happen. You can enforce uniqueness with that feature. So text boxes, though, generally pretty straightforward, and if we save that, then if we look at our form, I'll just switch to another tab where I can look at that form. Actually, I don't have it called up here, but a little trick that you can do in the URL in formulize if you want to switch around between forms. You just change the FID, it's the form ID number. Number 1 I know is the ID number for the first form we created, the wildlife form, wildlife activity form. There it is. And so now that we have this new text box, there it is, number of adult males. In fact, that's a bit long. Let's make it shorter, because we're not going to need to put in a number that big, obviously. Presumably 3 spaces is probably enough, so we'll use 3 for the size and the max length. And because we have chosen numbers only, when we save this, formulize figured out that under the advanced settings you shouldn't normally have to deal with this, but sometimes you might want to override it, but normally it would figure out if you said numbers only, it's going to store this as a number with no decimal places. If we had actually said that we wanted decimal places, then formulize would have picked the next one stores a number with a certain number of decimal places. So it's very responsive to what we do here, and we shouldn't normally have to deal with the advanced settings sort of behind the scenes. But if you do need to deal with that, you certainly can. So having saved that, and if we reload this page, then our box is a fair bit smaller. So, and just if we don't put in a number, just so you can see how that works, it's going to default that to 0. But if we, if we do put in a number, then there we go, saved, and back to the form. So I'm going to put in a few more text boxes into the form. If we go back and see it now, I'm going to add in number of adult females and number of juvenile males and number of juvenile females. Perhaps information that people would want to be recording in this kind of a situation where they're logging sightings of animals and their activity in this conservation area. So I'll put in the other text boxes, and then we can look at other ways that you might format that information so it's a little easier and clearer to the users to enter it.